the front and the second rows are actually our people, and the rest are not really our people, but we welcome, yeah, we don't make those distinctions. Everyone is our people. So why don't we make a round and tell each other who we are, so that we know each other, and then we'll move on. Yeah, I can tell that you want to start. Thanks
Okay.
for the eye contact.
My name is Matthias. I'm from Southeast Asian Studies. I'm teaching Indonesian language.
What levels?
So far elementary level.
Elementary.
I'm Amber Shalafor. I teach in ELIP, the English Language Improvement Program, and that's in the Second Language Studies Department, and that's where I am.
What level are you?
I'm teaching academic listening. We have different proficiencies that we teach.
In one group you have a spread of students with different proficiencies? Or
Right.
Really?
Right. I mean, depends on their background.
Exactly.
I'm Kim. I teach in the same program as Amber, and I'm teaching a reading and writing class.
And also a spread of proficiency range?
Yes.
Yeah.
These are really skills programs, right, to kind of get the skills level.
Yeah, I would expect, because we're such a rich program, I would expect that they would break down levels so that you really don't have to accommodate too many different levels. So it's like at least a range that is manageable rather than novice through intermediate hard.
Well, I don't think there are anyone I would call zeros, right? So I think, you know, by working, they can bring themselves up to the level.
I'm Valentina. I teach intermediate Spanish this semester.
My name is Frank Hess. I teach modern Greek, and I'm teaching 3 years worth of it this semester.
Wow.
First, second, oh my God.
Goodness.
And the third year class is a mix of people who are low intermediate probably to
Which is a typical outcome of any domestic program.
right,
Yeah.
right, to heritage learners who are orally at least close to fluent, and so it's a lot of work.
And it's, it's a huge challenge. Yeah.
My name is Esther Ham. I'm also part of CLE as the Director of Online Language Programs, but actually I'm teaching also Dutch, first year, second year, and third year.
Wow.
So,
Do you have also very different students in terms of their backgrounds and their proficiency levels?
yes, I have
Esther probably does a better job than I do.
I have 2 second year online students and 2 second year not online, but okay, 2 online students, and they're both better than my third year students.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I forgot, I have 2 fourth year students too, so teaching first, second, third and fourth plus online.
So you know the program.
I used to say I live in Ballantyne. I'm happy to say I don't live in Ballantyne anymore. Now I live in GISB. Small change.
Roger,
Oh,
do you want to tell us?
I work for CELT. I'm the operations manager, and today I'm the cameraman. And I don't teach anything.
Yeah, but by now you're pretty much capable of teaching any language probably, right?
No, maybe.
And Laura.
Laura McClellan, Assistant Director for CLE. So,
Who
happy to
makes
be here and
everything
happy to draw
happen.
here.
Yeah, she's a miracle worker.
Thank
And
you.
it's just a little of her description.
Thank
The rest
you.
is just huge. Well, thank you for introducing yourself. And I hope that we'll be very informal in these workshops and in this workshop, in this particular one, so that feel free to interrupt me whenever you feel like you have something to say, and we'll just go in a way that would be helpful to you and accommodating your needs. I wanted to start as, you know, as an OCD person would, with very as any OCD person would start with basics, with kind of leveling the field so that we all agree on what we are doing. But again, feel free to cut me short because probably it's something that all of you already know. I need, can you see through or should I just adjust the lights? Yeah. Or, is it okay?
I'm sorry.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Comfortable? All right. We're going to talk about the assessment, and I thought that this little cartoon represents really well what we're trying to do sometimes, that we are assessing unfairly or maybe assessing skills that are not needed to some of our students. So the levels of cognition or the levels of our awareness are so many, and we have to put into the assessment so much knowledge that we really have to be very careful what and how we assess. And the trade of assessment or the skill of assessment, the matter of assessment is really challenging thing. Again, assessment is laden with lots of emotions and with lots of difficult feelings, and how we want to present ourselves, or how we construct ourselves as teachers, as educators. Are we gatekeepers who are telling, no, it's not good enough, stop doing this, do something else? Or we accept students' performance and try to maybe slightly modify it, change it without really giving out a harsh words. So a few important principles, and I'm sure we'll all agree on this, that we have to reinforce regular linguistic practices and behaviors which can be translated again in do and don'ts. Do test some meaningful language that is actually used rather than outlandish or very cut out pieces that your students will never be using. What we should not be probably doing is create assessment that differ from habitual practices of your language classroom. Also, if you add something that you consider useful but you never practice in class, then it's probably unfair. Because again, we are not assessing proficiency, we're assessing accomplishment. We're assessing how well the students got acquired what we've given to them. We're not assessing in a way that ACTFL does or government does to make sure that the person can place into a job or can do can perform certain functions. No, our assessment is formative. What we want to make sure is that actually what we give them, they take. And if they don't, it means that there is either a problem in communication or a problem in how we give it, or there is a problem in how they take it. So, so many levels of the assessment that should be taken into account. And please, let's agree that we are not proficiency testers. We test achievement, and this is what basically how well the students get what we give them. Real world situations. This is probably questionable, especially if we deal with foreign language studies and novice levels. Because to frame your situation as natural, while students probably know just a couple of words and no grammar, it was a bit trickier. I recently attended an excellent workshop where we all were inspired and thought that every situation of language practice should be meaningful. And the person said a very interesting phrase. She said, well, why would you practice items of clothing if you never do it in your real life? So it's very interesting observation because yes, we don't go around like, oh, today I'm wearing this black shirt and pants, you know. It would be weird if I go around saying things like this. However, if we frame it a little bit differently, maybe there are situations in real life when we actually describe clothes. I can have a kind of interesting date or a date, my first date, and I want to show off. I want to be presentable, so I'm asking my friend, so what do you think, how do I look? And if the friend can't see me, I'm calling her up and I'm describing myself, maybe a situation like this. So perhaps instead of denying the situation its reality, its validity, try to think of how it can actually be used, even with limited amount of vocabulary, even with very nascent grammar structures that they have. And again, important thing, yes, and the older you get, the more important the things become, that our experiences are not the same as our students' experiences, and you can actually present them with a situation that is normal to you, but would be so outlandish to them. For instance, if I would be discussing using bus system, which I was raised with, where when you come up, when you climb the bus, you pay your pass, it's kind of non-existent and it would be weird, so I can't really do it in my real classroom situation. Activities should provide affordances for learning. Again, and maybe some of you noticed, I would maybe venture a little bit outside of this presentation. Delayed grades. How quickly do we return the tests, the unit tests? In my program, all our tests are usually scheduled for Thursdays, so that whoever teaches has enough time to grade and give comments, and then the tests are handed out to students back on Monday. So it's really delayed grading, and by the time the students receive their grades, they have totally forgotten what they did on the test, why they did it. So the purpose of this feedback is really undermined by the time distance between the feedback and the test. Unfortunately, there is no research done on this, and I think it's a very promising area, or it is an area that is very valid to our everyday trade, because yes, most of our feedback is delayed, and very rarely we do it on the spot. There is a research saying that yes, explicit explanations do help and promote learning, but we don't know whether the delayed explicit explanation is as effective as immediate explicit explanations, and I think it's very valid topic for second language acquisition research. So in terms of affordances for learning, that's one of the things that the tests should promote it. If the students look at the grades and they don't really care, and the grades don't hone their learning, why even we do it? For instance, how many of you, and I think it's part of who we are, because people who tend to teach languages, they tend to be very pedantic, to say the least. We notice everything. We're very detail oriented, and we see the errors right away, and we go nuts, and we try to correct, especially if it's a young teacher. She or he tries to correct everything and sees it as an excellence in his profession. Which again, like, why would you correct something that student would never understand or notice, no matter how many times you would explain it? So if your student knows only present and past, why would you correct, and only verbs, why would you correct participles that the students use by accident, let it be. Don't worry about it. Why would you correct orthography, again, if it's not the focal issue? If your focal issue when you gave them the test was to make sure that they actually acquired the system of the verbs, and they know, I don't know in your languages, in Russian language, every person, you, she, he, we, you, they have different endings on the verb. So it's very important that the students learn all the endings, and we have two systems. We have two conjugation types. So it's already 12 forms. So for me, if I give the test, it's very important to make sure that students actually acquire those. And I really don't care if they make mistakes in orthography, if they make mistakes in any other things, because that was the focal thing of my instruction, and that was the focal thing of my quiz, and that's what I want to check. Again, we can argue and we can discuss it, because as students progress, as their proficiency grows, as their controllable language grows, maybe you can control and you can check for more things and you can take grades down for more things, but again, the idea of the focal form versus marginal form that is not the point of your instruction is very important.